let's talk about this tweet from Ali Gold this morning. It's what every Spurs fan has been fearing pretty much since Conte has joined. Oh, and it's actually hard to read. And it says, I'll just read what the tweet says, and then we can go into deeper in the article. Here's a piece on Antonio Conte's happiness, fears from some of the players that he might walk if he's not backed this month. So, I mean, this is what everyone's been fearing. I said on the fan show yesterday, if he's not back this month, if he doesn't get a signing in this month, then I'm pretty confident he will walk in February. What's the article? How in depth does it go?
Well, he just talked about Conte's time at the moment at Spurs. Says his training sessions have been described as incredible by players and staff within the club. So there's only so much he can do with what he has. It is understood that Conte has been extremely candid in his assessment of the club and his squad during multiple discussions with Chairman Daniel Levy since he arrived, with plenty of home truths delivered publicly and privately about the level Spurs are at. Now, Football London understands that some of the Tottenham players fear Conte could walk next month if he is not backed with new signings to improve the squad during the remainder of the transfer window. However, following what has been described by all sides as a very honest and positive meeting on Monday between Conte and other Spurs hierarchy, including Levy and Paratici, there is little fear within the club of such an immediate departure. And he goes on to say the crunch of the window in that regard is expected to be the summer one, and whether Conte feels that the club is moving in the right direction to meet his ambition during that period.
So, what do you take from that?
Well, I mean, the players obviously with him a lot more, aren't they? And they're with him on the training ground, and he might be having discussions with Levy and Paratici, but the players are the ones who see his demeanour. They're the ones who see his body language and how he reacts to things and how he is on a day to day in that sense on the training ground. So you could think they might have a better kind of I don't know what the word I'm looking for. They could see better what maybe he could be thinking rather than Levy or Paratici, where they're having positive meetings, but they're not with him as much as the players are. So do the players have a better inkling of what could be going through his head? Obviously, it's a fear that we've had ever since he got appointed, that he could walk at any moment, just because we've done this to other managers where we've promised them things and we haven't delivered, and then we've hung them out to dry and they end up getting sacked. So Conte's not that kind of manager to take that on the chin, and he's done it before where if he's not happy with the hierarchy, let it be known, and he could easily walk. I personally, if we don't sign anyone, I don't know who knows, that could maybe happen. I do think if we get a couple of signings, I don't think he's walking. It depends, I guess, what you mean by being backed. I still find it hard to believe he's going to walk next month, but we all know this has been a fear from a lot of fans ever since he signed, that this guy is not going to take any shit from this board like other managers have. And he's a manager who doesn't need to risk his reputation like this. In that sense, he could get a lot of jobs in world football.
You know what I mean? He could leave Spurs in February, get the Man United job at the end of the season, get completely backed, and go win titles next season. Literally.
Exactly. So we've got to be very careful with how we're approaching this right now. We have to make sure that we're giving him a squad that's competitive, and that's and a squad that he can really feel like he can challenge with. Otherwise, because he's not, like, as much as Conte understands that right now it's a process and whatnot. He isn't a man. Every team he's been at, they challenge. They're competing for big things, and it must be killing him watching that two-legged tie and how out of our depth we were in this kind of game. It must have really hurt him to see Chelsea being so much better than us in over those two legs. And
he would have known it before the game even kicked off anyway.
Of course he would. So we have to give him the tools to work with, because right now there's only so much he can do, as that article said. And that's what I saw from That's what I saw from the game. There's only like as much as he can do so much, and we're struggling behind badly. George Bannister, who tweets sometimes about Spurs news, he said,
"We need to get this guy on the channel. Who is he?
I don't really know who he is, but he seems to have some sort of information. He says, just to be careful to seek context on stuff that's coming out today. Ari Conte. Players are always the most outspoken, but those opinions aren't necessarily unanimously shared."
Okay.
So you're saying it's not everyone who believes that,
Yeah.
and from players' point of view.
To be honest, you know who I think is the ringleader of thinking this?
Who, Kane?
Exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised, because Kane is more than most have got interest in Tottenham improving the squad and moving in the right direction, and they're both winners, him and Conte. So I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. And we know if Conte, if the worst was to happen and Conte was to leave next month, if he was to walk, then Kane will again push for a move in the summer. And that of course it will. Of course that will happen. And then they will have a domino effect, which I'm not sure we can recover from for a very long time. If we've got basically, Conte's given us
A last chance saloon.
Yeah, he's given us a chance now of actually getting back to where we were a few years ago by him being here. He's fighting like we were going nowhere before he came here. All of a sudden, you got a bit of thing of light. What do you call it?
A little glimmer.
A glimmer.
Through. A little glimmer coming through.
And we got to make sure we don't let this another opportunity slip us by. We did under Poch. You know, we had an opportunity where we actually were ahead of a lot of teams, and if we would have pushed on from that moment, we could have easily been a team where we could have won something, or even, you know, stayed ahead of these teams, but we didn't. We let that opportunity that we had slip, and we've now been festering for a couple of years now in the absolute wilderness, absolutely nowhere. Conte's now got a lot of the fan base believing we have a manager that could actually take us somewhere, and we got to make sure that we handle this opportunity and we take it with both hands. We can't let Conte slip through the cracks.
Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. It's too many times now we've set up our managers to fail. And, you know, we might have set up Pochettino and Jose Mourinho to fail, but I don't think we've ever set up a manager like we're setting up Conte. I mean, look, I know it's only, 13 days into the window, nearly halfway now. I had that big debate with Brian Daigle after 7 days in, calling for calm, calling for patience. But the anxiety is starting to set in now. The anxiety is starting to set in now because it just seems like it's going the same way as it always does.
Yeah.
That's what it seems like.
Same shit.
That's what it seems like. I mean, as much as I called for calm after 7 days, I still stand by that because 7 days is 7 days. But now we're nearly halfway, 2 days, and we're halfway into the window.
Yeah.
2 days. Once it gets to 20 days and we haven't signed anyone, then the real panic is going to set in.
The thing that annoys me, though, is I understand the calls for patience, and unfortunately that's the situation. We do, you know, when Conte only finished evaluating his squad like a couple of weeks ago and all that kind of stuff. And apparently I'm hearing a rumour that Paratici had COVID and that delayed some negotiations. Really? I heard a rumour
he can't speak on the phone when he has COVID?
I don't know, but why are we in this situation that Conte only finished evaluating his squad last week, 2 weeks ago? Why is that?
Why? Because Conte only finished evaluating. Because he only came in beginning of November.
There we go. Why did he only come in the beginning of November?
We know
exactly.
Why,
so it all leads
idiots at the top of the club.
So even all these things about calling for patience, I only need patience because of the board. Yeah. It all leads from the board anyway.
It always does.
It always does. So it's their fault why we're in this situation where we need to be patient. All this rubbish. Like this all leads back to them. If Conte was here in the summer. If Conte had that whole summer to look at his squad and really evaluate it and even have some of the transfer budget in the summer to get what he wants and whatever, we wouldn't be in this desperate need to do so much business in January. January is not a window you should be looking to revamp the squad. That's not a window you should be looking. But unfortunately,
one or two additions,
exactly,
just to spur you on a little bit.
Exactly. But unfortunately, we're in a situation where like necessary.
We need a rebuild in January.
In January, and we shouldn't be in that situation, but we've been put in that situation by a completely incompetent hierarchy who have left us in a situation where
time and time again,
where the manager is again, Nuno was late. Even Nuno was appointed late. That was for the summer, and he was even appointed late to evaluate the squad in the summer.
71 days, 75 days, whatever it was.
But he was appointed, what, like a week or 2 weeks before the season started or something like that?
Literally. Did he even take... Did he take pre... Yeah, I think he took pre-season.
He did, but I think he was appointed literally 31st of July and season started 14th of August. So he was appointed late, and now he's had 10 games and gone. Now we've got Conte in November, and now he has to evaluate his squad. So we've pretty much wasted 6 months, pretty much, having our dick in our hands, doing nothing.
By clowns. I mean, I'm gonna save my assessment for the end of the window. I'm trying not to panic. I'm trying not to go too hard, but you know that this is going the same way. This is what it feels like. It's going the same way. But
every time. It's what it feels like.
We have to save our evaluation till the end of the window, though. We just have to. I mean, there's no other option, is there?
Look, there is still time to make deals, to get deals done, and all that kind of stuff. So,
I'm actually happy these performances are coming in a transfer window period.
Yeah, and maybe that'll force our hand. And Levy, there was a shot of Levy in the stadium yesterday watching on, and hopefully you can see yesterday
nice tan about him and his nice.
Yeah, of course he did.
Bahamas.
Of course he did. Do I think Conte walking next month is a real possibility? I still find it hard to believe, as much as some players might think it.
I only think it's a possibility if he doesn't get anyone.
Then yeah, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen.
What about if we just get one? Let's say we sell Bergwijn and bring in Adama. Those are the only 2 deals that we do.
That's bare less. That's basically not signing anyone.
Exactly.
So I don't know.
But that's the only viable rumours we're hearing at the moment.
Yeah, but we've seen it before with Tottenham, where someone can come out of nowhere and we can get the deal done. Like it's happened before.
It has happened before, but I'm not holding my breath right now. I'm really not. I mean,
I don't know why the Adama deal was taking so long. Like, do we want him or not? You know what I mean? It's like we want him, but then there's 20 million, but actually we want a loan with an obligation to buy, and we're not going to sump up the cash.
It's always the same when we sign anyone. It's always the
always
same when we sign anyone. You know what?
Get the deal done quickly.
This is how much we want. All right, this is how much we'll offer you. You want 20 million? All right, we'll offer you 15 million. No, we don't want 15 million. All right, do you want a loan then? And an obligation to buy at the end? No, we want 20 million. All right, fine. Let's offer you 16 million then. You know
Levy always has to feel like he has won the negotiation. Always has to win the negotiation.
Man, it's so tiring.
And it is in the past, in some deals, it's worked out where he has put more, but it's becoming as time goes on.
It's helped us.
As time goes on, if you look at overall picture, you probably would say it's a lot like it's hindered us way more in terms of what we could be doing.
Yeah.
And I don't think he realizes that.
How can you? I don't understand. How can you not realize it? Fucking hell! Look in front of your eyes, man. See what you're doing on a weekly basis. Every single transfer window is the same jargon.
But if players, if these are rumours coming out from players about Conte could walk, what do you think is going through a lot of the players' minds when about this kind of situation?
I mean, it's even worse than when Danny Rose went to the Sun. I mean, Danny Rose was saying it. How long ago? How long ago was it when Danny Rose was saying that we need players,
5 years
we need
ago.
good players? I mean, that was 5 years ago now. Recruitment in the last 5 years have been absolutely shocking. I think that this has been going through the players' minds for a long time. I know we haven't had Conte for a long time, but in terms of the fact that Levy needs to back the manager.
But in terms of like a genuine fear about Conte walking next month, if it is genuine, but how does that play into players' psychology? Like, does it make them? Do they genuinely believe he could be gone, and then all of a sudden, does that affect how they perform, and does it affect whether they have those doubts?
I think every player is different. Obviously, every player has different psychology. Everyone's got a different mentality. When you're looking at players like Harry Kane, if he's got that fear, he's not showing it because I think he's playing well at the moment, Harry Kane, and I think he's trying to put that burden on the team on the back of his shoulders. He's trying to take the scraps, and he's trying to pull through and trying to make stuff happen for Conte. But maybe I don't know. I don't know. It's a hard question, man. It's a hard question. I think some players will kind of be disillusioned with it and maybe not try, but maybe subconsciously lose a bit of faith with it all, and maybe it'll look to the eye like they're not trying. And some players will try their best to try and salvage the situation. I think, you know, you can't say it's the same for each and every player in terms of what they're feeling.
I know, but I just wonder if there is a genuine belief in the squad that he might walk, like whether that, you know, makes them, like, I don't know whether that affects their performance in some way, or whether it affects their thinking, like, this guy could be gone in a month. Do I need to listen to him? I don't know. Like, I hope that's not what they're thinking or anything, but who knows? But yeah,
it's a difficult question, isn't it? I mean, it's hard to know what's inside the players' heads. It's hard to know how they're thinking, and it's hard to know what reaction we can get out of them. And we just need the board to stump up, man. That's just the bottom line here.
Definitely, that's definitely true. But yeah.